What is up, OSIMA Ball Reviews? Keegan here, and today we're going to be talking about the new Brunswick Quantum EVO Response. Now, I've made it kind of known in the past, I'm just not a huge fan of shiny bowling balls. I typically have to surface them down in order to get the reaction that I actually want out of them, just because I'm not a huge fan of quick response covers. However, I decided to take a risk on this one, and I think it paid off. I am actually a pretty big fan of this ball. Let's get into the actual ball specs, and then we'll talk more about the actual reaction, why I like it on the lane. So, of course, it features HK22 as the cover base, but it's evolution reactive, which is essentially the only difference between this ball and the original Quantum EVO Pearl is the fact that instead of it having just regular evolution, it's HK22 evolution for the cover. 500, 1000, 1500 Sire for the, and then Crown Compound for the finish. It is the QCS 24 core, which has a RG of 251, differential of 053, and an asymmetry of 024. So essentially, the core is made to hook, the cover is also made to hook, but it's made to be a little bit more of a sharp motion. And, well, let's go ahead and just hop on the lanes and see if that's what I saw out of it. Alrighty, now that we are on lane with the Quantum EVO Response, you can see the response may not have been the best descriptor of this ball. While it can actually take advantage of the friction and still move in a relatively sharp motion, what you're really seeing with me is just kind of something a little bit more gradual. And that's honestly something I really enjoy. Like I said, I'm not a huge fan of super responsive covers, and that's not what I saw out of this one. I saw something very usable, especially like this is on a house shot, but seems to kind of help blend out. Like it's still a strong reaction, but it still blends out the friction a little bit. Now I did see some situations where it kind of like really saw the friction and jumped, but for the most part, it was just, for a big ASIM core, it was just really super controllable for me, which I did not really expect, especially because I put the mass bias in my thumb to really get to honestly try to help it flip a little bit, because like even though I don't typically like those reactions, they're still usable in like sport tournament situations, and I wanted to at least have that option. But you can see, like, even when I do get it out into the friction, it just kind of blends it. And I'm a huge fan of this reaction. It's just, I don't know, there's just something about it that I really enjoy. And I think it's a really good compliment to like my Infinity, where my Infinity is just super smooth, but it's still about the same level of like controllability. And this one here, it has more angle, of course, because it is polished, but I feel that it's just like the shapes complement each other very well, and it's something that I actually really enjoy seeing. This one surprised me a lot. I was expecting to have to film for like an hour and a half just for this ball alone in order to be able to get the amount of footage, how much I'm just not a huge fan of the sharp reactions. But since it didn't give me that, I was actually able to get enough footage done pretty quickly. But this just really impressed me. I'm a huge fan of the reaction. A lot of people have seen a lot more response than I got out of it, but I'm not upset about that. I actually really enjoy what I have seen out of this ball. Let's do the 6-ball arsenal, and then we'll wrap this up, and then I gotta get started on that Rhino review. I'd say this is actually probably a pretty solid. I don't think it hooks enough to be a 1-ball. I'm thinking it's kind of pretty firmly in the 2-ball category, which isn't a bad thing. But I would say probably putting. Let's do a Brunswick bag. I feel that's not a terrible idea. I'd say, and I do mine by shape, not necessarily by hook potential. I should say that. I would go Mindset, Quantum EVO, Infinity, probably, and like that's just like to cover all of the bases for fresh. And then I would say probably something like, honestly, go with that Melee Carbon because it's kind of it's a good step down from this one because I feel they kind of shape similarly to where it's just kind of like it is definitely a pearl ball, but it's on the smoother side of pearl. Go Teal Rhino, and then, well, they don't really have a urethane option on the Brunswick side anymore, so let's just say for that last ball, throw in something like just do a T-zone. Get your spare ball. But I'm very impressed by this ball. Very, very excited to see how it does this weekend. Because I am going to be bowling the bracket challenge this weekend, and I'm just curious to see how it does. But wrap this up so I can get talking about that Rhino. I've been OSIMA Ball Reviews. Oh shoot, I missed again. I hope I don't miss y'all next time. Thanks for watching.